What is up, beautiful people? It is day 2 of NFL free agency, and we've already got some breaking news, some big news at the most important position in football. So let's run the clip. That's right. We've got some breaking news. Yeah, Chris, it's not 2 p.m. quite yet, but we had to talk a little bit, had some breaking news. I'm a little bit early, I'll admit it. And if we need to run it back, we can talk. I think I'm 2 minutes early, which I'm usually not early. So this is a rare feat here for us at No Buts About It. But we have some news that Geno Smith has been traded to the New York Jets, where he began his career. He will be returning, to kind of what he say. They wrote me off, and he wrote back. Well, he's writing back now, or he didn't write back. I don't know, whatever that saying was. He's returning to the New York Jets. A seventh round pick went along with Geno Smith for a sixth round pick, and it is currently being reported that the Raiders will pick up a good portion of his contract as well. So we got that information going for us. Also, it is, I don't have a number yet, but according to, I believe it was Ian Rappaport, the Indianapolis Colts are very close to a deal with Daniel Jones in the long-term extension. And that's what we talked about yesterday with the Alec Pierce extension. Alec Pierce had originally said that he wasn't going to sign with a team until he knew his quarterback situation. And now he knows his quarterback situation. He signed with the team, signed that massive 4-year, $116 million deal, I believe it was. And so one of the biggest contracts we've seen in free agency so far goes to Alec Pierce. And we'll see what we get for Daniel Jones as well. And remember, he's on that transition tag. So the Colts have the opportunity to match any other offers that Daniel Jones were to get. So we've got that going for us. Let me pull up our quick recap post. I tried to get all the big names recapped here at when I woke up. I was like, man, yesterday was rough. I was hoping there wouldn't be like a whole bunch of signings about right out the gate, because these players aren't supposed to be talking to teams until noon, but somehow every year there's always a deal signed right at noon. Giants signed Greg Newsome, cornerback, 1 year, $10 million deal. I think that's a fantastic deal. He was a plague for the Bengals for years when he was with the Browns. Getting him on a 1-year rental, I think, is great. Vikings haven't done much, not surprised. Who's left at guard that's decent? We can pull up. We've got the CBS Sports free agency tracker. No one off the top of my head, unfortunately. Rasheed Walker's available, who's an offensive tackle. He's probably one of the best O-linemen in free agency. Jermaine Illuminor signed back with the Giants. Oh, Joel Bitonio, he was thinking about retiring, though, but he is available. Very good player. Older, 34-year-old, so you might be able to get him on a cheaper deal. But he was with the Browns, and he was one of those players that we talked about in a previous video who, was a cap casualty. They cut or released or got rid of in some way like 8 players on their O-line. So Joel Bitonio could be someone who you look into. Ed Ingram's back with the Texans, so he's not available. Zion Johnson went to the Browns after leaving the Chargers. Let's see here. Dylan Parham, 26 years old, from the Raiders. Still decent signing. May be able to get him fairly cheap. Not the greatest, but it doesn't look like the Raiders are planning on bringing him back, so he will be at a new team. Wyatt Teller, another Browns guard, 31 years old. who, just was a cap casualty. He's very good as well. So I would say Wyatt Teller or Joel Bitonio are your two guys you may target who Elgin Jenkins as well, as Chris said. He's very good from the Packers. Yeah, I believe he was released, or they're planning to release him. So you got some options out there, a couple older players, a few younger players. If you're a team that is just looking at drafting someone and needs someone as a stopgap, maybe Joel Bitonio is your guy. Get him on a 1-year cheap deal. Very good player, very good leader, very respectable player. That I saw him 2 times a year when the Bengals played the Browns. So I got a lot of respect for him. And so you can draft Joel Bitonio, or not draft him. You could draft another guard and then have Joel Bitonio start over him. As Chris said, Elgin Jenkins from the Packers is very good, very versatile as well. So you've got a few options. Cheers, Ronald. Shout out. Spent the day with me yesterday here on No Butts About It. Another Bengals fan. Hopefully we see some Bengals news here today. Yeah, Chris, I'm a little shocked that the Vikings haven't done a little bit more in free agency. I know that they had some cap issues, but I thought that they might make some moves. Haven't seen it yet. Maybe today's the day. What other big signings do we got here? Oh, the Lions signed Isaiah Pacheco. I really like that signing. Isaiah Pacheco is a guy that I have been a fan of. I love the way he runs. Kind of fell off a little bit in Kansas City after injury. But I think behind Jahmyr Gibbs, he'll be able to be a nice 1-2 punch. Maybe even take up that knuckles mantle left by David Montgomery. So Isaiah Pacheco to the Lions is a very fun signing for me. Got a depth CB yesterday. Yeah, I was shocked by 2 things. I was shocked the Vikings weren't more active in free agency, and I was shocked that the Bengals actually did something in free agency. So they did. Bengals signed 2 big players yesterday. And Ronald, I know you're not a fan of the Boye Mafe signing. I did some research, and it's kind of won me over a little bit. The video on that will be coming soon, but I kind of like him. I think we got a deal. We got some potential there. And yeah, if Isaiah Pacheco can stay healthy, it's a very solid pickup. What do we think? What's our consensus on? You're okay with it now? Okay, I know you weren't ecstatic about it yesterday, so we're coming around. Okay. What do we think about the Geno Smith trade? Raiders traded Geno Smith in a 7 to the Jets for a 6th round pick. What are our collective thoughts on that? And while we're still talking about the Boye Mafe signing a little bit, yeah, just not a solid defensive end free agency. And, I read Jonathan Jones tweeted that there are teams that are really far apart from where Trey Hendrickson is as well. So the price he's asking, it's not just the Bengals being cheap. He's apparently asking for something that, like, even the Patriots and the Commanders and these teams that were huge in on him are like, no. Like, there have been teams where it's like a $10 million a year difference. So they could. Kyler Murray's kind of screwing everyone here, right? So in New York, I thought Geno Smith would be, or Kyler Murray would be the quarterback in New York. $1.3 million deal, easy money. But Kyler Murray's kind of taking his time. He's going to end up in the best situation. So yeah, I think Kyler Murray's going to he might be like Aaron Rodgers was last year, where it's very obvious where he's going to go for weeks, but he plays coy about it. So Geno Smith just wasn't great last year. If this was a situation where you had your young quarterback already and you knew, hey, Geno Smith's going to play like 7 games, and then we're going to throw in Dante Moore Jr., for example, then I could get it. But that's not the situation we see now. Now, of course, they could always draft like Ty Simpson. They could draft, some younger guy, some other guy. Lots of quarterbacks in this class, but I don't think Geno Smith is your starter. He's definitely not your future. And the Jets have invested a lot in this free agency. So we'll see what they get. Kind of invest to free agency. Murray is meeting with the Vikings tomorrow. Okay, I hadn't seen that. I could see him going to the Vikings. Cheap deal, and maybe start over JJ McCarthy, educate him. Jets need a quarterback. Yeah, they need to get like Ty Simpson, who I'm not even really that big of a fan of in this draft, but they could take a flyer on someone else. They got that quarterback out of Arkansas. I know tested really well. Is it Talon Green? Is that his name? I haven't really looked at the quarterbacks a lot because we have Joe Burrow. Cowboys restructure Kenny Clark's contract to create $8.8 million in cap space. Not super big news, but it's something. Yeah, Vikings make a ton of sense for Kyler Murray because he has a similar playing style to JJ McCarthy. It's not the exact same, but I think they have some trends that are similar, and it would allow JJ McCarthy to just learn from someone who's very athletically gifted, very talented, another first overall pick. And hopefully it will give JJ some time to just kind of calm down, ease into the quarterback position instead of just kind of being thrown into there after an injury. But I know Chris is still high on JJ, but we've only seen him for 10 games, so I am not writing him off at all, but he might need a veteran to help him out. Talon Green for the Bengals if Flacco doesn't stay put. Yeah, Flacco's another one. We saw Gardner Minshew get signed yesterday as a backup. We could see Flacco. Flacco wants a starting role, though. So we'll see if he ends up somewhere in a starting position. Talon Green for the Bengals as a backup could be very good. I like that as well. I think that would be a great signing. Another signing we saw that's kind of a big deal is Romeo Doubs signed with the Patriots. So he's no longer with the Green Bay Packers. Congratulations, Chris. He's out of the division. He signed I had it here, 3-year, $60 million deal. So $20 million a year approximately for Romeo Doubs. I think this is great because, they were in the running for, it seemed like every major wide receiver. They were in the running for, or supposed running for the A.J. Brown trade that hasn't gone through yet. We don't know if it will go through yet. They were in the running for Alec Pierce, who decided to take less money to stay with the Colts. But imagine what you would have had to have given up for A.J. Brown. And then you would have had to have paid him as well. So you probably would have ended up paying him like $20 million a year, if not more, plus giving up maybe a first-round pick. We saw what DJ Moore went for. So I think Doubs to the Patriots will be great for Drake May. It's a great deal. You're getting a very good wide receiver too for what you may have ended up paying a wide receiver one, or less than you would have ended up paying for a wide receiver one. But I think he has wide receiver one potential in that Patriots offense. Where do you think Trey Hendrickson will go? B. Wilkes asked. Well, first of all, B. Wilkes, thanks for joining us. We just a minute ago, Jonathan Jones tweeted. Let me see if I can pull up this exact tweet so I don't put words in Jonathan Jones' mouth. Let me find it here. He's tweeting like crazy. He's a CBS NFL insider for those who don't know him. So he tweeted, teams that weren't in on Trey Hendrickson may get in on him as time goes on and his price aligns more with where the market views him. And then he quote tweeted that and said, as of this morning, there were teams I spoke with who said the gap between what he wanted and what they were willing to pay was close to $10 million per year. So in terms of Trey Hendrickson, there's a lot of teams that they're kind of viewing him the same way the Bengals did, where they'd love to have him, but they don't want to pay him for the price that he is asking. He's asking for way too much, especially coming off injury. And I have long said his agent does him dirty. He did him dirty with the 1-year extension. He did him dirty when he asked for an extension that he wasn't even able to get because of the NFL rules on contract extensions for veterans. And it seems like he's, again, going to get done dirty. So teams are going to go sign these other guys. And, maybe they still want Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson's a fantastic player. I love Trey Hendrickson. But there's teams that are pulling out on this deal because they can sign maybe 2 players for the price of what Trey Hendrickson's asking as a 31-year-old. Is he 31 now? Who's coming off of a pec injury that was season ending. So, yeah, I don't know where Trey Hendrickson will go. I know the Eagles were in on him. I know the Patriots were in on him. I know the Commanders were in on him. The Bengals would probably love to have him back. But he's asking too much. He's outpricing himself. Buccaneers, I think, could be a team that maybe goes for him. Colts, obviously, are a connection. So, yeah, it's just, New England. These are all New England, Dallas, Buffalo. There's all these teams that could get Trey Hendrickson, but he's outpricing himself. I mean, are you going to pay Trey Hendrickson $40 million a year? The Bengals offered him $30 million a year, and he said no because of the guarantees. So, what is he asking? It's got to be astronomical. Yeah, I just need one sooner than later. Rather have Flacco and push that off until next season and fix O-line depth instead and defense now. Yeah, defense needs to be fixed. O-line depth, Cody Ford, I liked him. He didn't look fantastic last year. Need to improve upon that. I like Jalen Rivers' potential, but he's not there yet. So definitely would bring in a guard, maybe a left tackle guard player to add some depth, similar to what Cody Ford is. We got Matt Lee. Fans really like Matt Lee. Doesn't seem like the team likes Matt Lee as much, but we'll see what Matt Lee is able to bring for the Bengals at center. Hendrickson said no to the Bengals because he wants more good defensive players. I don't know that that's true, but they brought in 2 really good defensive players yesterday in Boye Mafe and Brian Cook. DJ Turner's looked fantastic last year. I think it's money. It seems to be money with Trey Hendrickson, unfortunately. What I guess I shouldn't say unfortunately. I mean, I want more money at my job too. But yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating. I really liked Trey Hendrickson, and this is just part of the business. But I think the Bengals are gonna, and if they get Leo Chanel, we're happy. We're happy campers. A good DT could really turn this team around. Let's see what DTs are still available. There's some. DJ Reader was one that I was looking at. There was a younger guy too, who kind of went under the radar that we didn't mention yesterday. It wasn't Sebastian Joseph Day. It was I can't find his name. Anyway, if he signs with the Bengals, I'll remember his name. But yeah. So you're a Chargers fan. Yeah, Zion Johnson was a big loss. You do need a guard bad. And you need your tackles to stay healthy. Holy cow. Your guys' injuries on the O-line last year was terrible. I felt bad for Justin Herbert because that was kind of the situation the Bengals were in the year they went to the Super Bowl when they had Akeem Adeniji starting and Quentin Spain and just like a bunch of nobodies on the O-line. Bengals secondary got so much better yesterday. If they stay healthy, still need another slot corner. Yeah, I really like Jalen Davis. I like his potential. I like what he's always done for the team. He's always kept his head down, been a pretty good player. But I would be okay with bringing in another slot corner, even if it's just as depth. Because I think Jalen Davis did earn a starting role last year, but he needs to improve. He's definitely more that Mike Hilton player who the Bengals used to start at slot. Where he's really good at blitzing out of the slot, but he's not great in man coverage. I think Jalen Davis is similar. Jalen Davis is also kind of older, but Bengals could go after Bosa for depth. Who knows? Yeah, AJ Epinesa is out there. There's some solid edges out there right now that you can get cheap. There's just not a lot of premium edges out there. So if you need depth, which I think the Bengals are to the point of I know Shamar hasn't been great. but he's a first round pick. So give him some time. We drafted him in the first round. They're gonna, give him time. Miles Murphy is showing huge flashes, former first round pick. If you get another veteran like Bosa or AJ Epinesa, I think you've rounded out the defensive end room. We're picking up bartenders for tackle last year, which sucks because you guys invested so much into your tackles and they were so good. Like Rashawn Slater was fantastic. Joe Alt was fantastic. Although I got some beef with Joe Alt. I do like through the mail autographs, where you can get like their athletes, celebrities will sign through the mail. Amon-Ra St. Brown signs through the mail. Like Chevy Chase signs through the mail. Harrison Ford has signed through the mail. I haven't gotten his, but I sent one to the address for Joe Alt, and it got sent back to me from return to sender. So I don't know if it was like his parents' house and they were tired of getting these autograph requests or what. But yeah, I got a return to sender from Joe Alt. But can't let tight end kill this team again. Dude, I liked Noah Fant. I liked that signing so much, but I didn't realize till the end of the year that the 3 fumble scoop and scores were him. That was rough. I like it. Hopefully Eric All can stay healthy. I think if Eric All stays healthy, we've got a really good tight end room. Our main problem with tight end is that, if Drew Sample's out there, it's a run play. If Mike Gesicki's out there, it's a pass play. We need a more versatile guy than Tanner Hudson. And I think Eric All can provide that. Joe Alt is a Minnesota guy. Boy, quit hating on my Vikings and local Minnesota people, Josh. Well, let me tell you, if he would have just signed the card, I would have been chill. He did return the card, so that was nice. Do I still got – might still be up. Yeah. So let's I'm going to cover up my address. Look at this. It got ran through the mail. It looks like he stepped on it before he sent it back. And then it says ANK. I don't know what that means. He wrote return. They wrote return to sender up here with an arrow pointing to my address. And then no longer at this address, crossed it out, square, also, this is aggressive. This is aggressive, Chris. This is more than just a return to sender. This is an angry return to sender. But I respect. I'm not the type of person who gets mad about that. I think it's funnier more than anything. I'm not mad at Joe Alt or anything. Maybe it's just the wrong address. I'll get it eventually. And again, like I said, he returned the card at least. So I've got the card. That's okay, though. That's okay. He's a former Notre Dame guy, too. I'm in Indiana. I'm not against Joe Alt. Stop putting words in my mouth, Chris. Let's see here. What other big signings can we discuss? Ooh, Browns got Quincy Williams to a 2-year, $13 million deal with 9 guaranteed. That's a good signing. Him paired up with Carson Schwessinger is going to be scary. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. Him and Carson Schwessinger are going to be very good together, I am sure. I thought that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was going to come back. Now it sounds like he's never going to be able to play football again, unfortunately, because of that neck injury. That was a scary tandem to think about for the Cleveland Browns. And now, they get Quincy Williams. Quincy and Quinnen are broken up, I think, for the first season, the start of the first season in their NFL career. They were both at the Jets. Then Quinnen got traded to the Cowboys, and now Quincy is headed to the Browns. Let's see here. Just got a text from – oh, nope, it's just Stan reacting to the Jets trade. Who have the Chiefs inked other than Walker? Let's see if we can pull that up. Chiefs free agent signings. Kenneth Walker. Duh. Never mind. I'm like trying to think while typing. No, Lloyd Gilman went to the Raiders. They got Travis Kelce back. Eli Gilman did go to the Chiefs. So they got their safety. Eli Gilman from the Ravens signed a 3-year, $24.75 million contract that includes 15 guaranteed. Pretty decent safety. Definitely brings in some stability for that Chiefs secondary. They got Kyrie's Tonga, defensive tackle, who I believe was last on the Patriots. He got 3-year, $21 million deal, including 14 guaranteed. They brought back Tyquan Thornton on a 2-year, $11 million deal, wide receiver. So really just those four names other than Walker. So bringing back Thornton and Kelce, and then signing Gilman and Tonga, with Walker obviously being their major signing. So they've been making some under the radar moves other than Walker. They haven't made a huge splash, but those are the type of signings that, can make a roster kind of come back. And I do think they need more weapons for Patrick Mahomes, because I get it. Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, but he's older now. Rashee Rice has been on and off. We don't really know what Xavier Worthy is at this point. I don't, at least. I think he has potential. But, we'll see. The Chiefs are a very respectable organization. They know what they're doing over there. Andy Reid is the head coach. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. So you can't write them off. But the way they looked the year before, I felt like they kind of stumbled and tripped their way into the Super Bowl. They didn't look great last year. And now they I don't know that they've done enough in rebuilding this roster. Adam Schefter says the Jaguars aren't interested in trading Brian Thomas Jr. So yesterday, Connor Hughes, who is a Jets-Giants beat reporter, was reporting that both the Jets and the Giants were in on the Brian Thomas trade. So now Schefter's saying there's nothing there. Brian Thomas Jr., he is obviously very talented wide receiver, fantastic wide receiver. Kind of got marred after they traded for Jacoby Myers in Jacksonville. Jacoby Myers had a great season with the Jaguars last year, but Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't like to get physical. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. On his routes, if he notices he's going to get hit, he'll just give up. And I didn't really notice it until they played the Bengals. And there was a play, I think it was against Demetrius Knight, where Demetrius Knight ended up getting an interception because Demetrius was coming across the middle and Brian Thomas Jr. was in the flat on an in route and just stopped. And so after Trevor threw the ball, Demetrius was just there and he just grabbed it. What do you guys need most in free agency? Linebacker. I'm going linebacker right now. We got a safety yesterday, got an edge rusher yesterday. I'd love to see them add another edge rusher. Defensive tackle would also be great, but I don't know that there's a big defensive tackle upgrade in free agency right now. But linebacker, if we get Leo Chanel, we're going to be doing great. We wanted Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd ended up going to the Carolina Panthers. What was that contract again? I remember it was something I would have paid. 3-year, $45 million deal. That was way below what I thought he was going to go for. I had him going $18 million a year. So $15 million a year, that's a steal for the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers, their defense was super underrated last year. They had some great corners. They had low points per game, which helped. It helped they were in the NFC South. But they added Jalen Phillips and they added Devin Lloyd. That's two big defensive signings that I think is going to improve that defense a ton. And this front office is really putting a lot of pressure on Bryce Young to deliver now, because it's not going to be the defense's fault if they aren't winning football games, especially if these guys stay healthy. Jalen Phillips has struggled with health a little bit, but Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips are both really good signings, I think. And if the Bengals can bring in a linebacker, Leo Chanel is my guy. Kalavon Chaseon is kind of a secondary. Now, Leo Chanel was my second behind Lloyd. We're pushing him up now. And, Chanel might be better than Lloyd because Chanel will be cheaper, but he's more versatile than Lloyd, I think. And they're both coming from very respectable defensive coordinators, but Chanel is coming from Spags' defensive scheme. And, I was thinking about this today. That's really what helps turn teams around is when you bring in guys from these well-established teams that, can share that, that culture with these other teams. So we need leaders on defense. And so bringing in someone from Mike McDonald's team in Boye Mafe, bringing in Brian Cook, who's a Spags guy, bringing in another Spags guy in Leo Chanel, that could really, revitalize this entire roster. Get these guys going. Get this culture built. Zach Taylor's a big culture guy, and it was missing last year on the defensive side of the ball. So let's get it going. Last year, it just felt like the defense was kind of out there. If we bring in these leaders, I think we can have a defense that feels more aggressive. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that can happen here. Kenny Clark. Okay, that's just more Kenny Clark information. But yeah, I think the Colts, or not the Colts, the Bengals need to bring in more, leaders, more guys that are going to come in and say, hey, this is us. And you had guys that kind of tried to speak up, but you can tell when a guy doesn't really want to be a leader and just feels like they need to vaguely lead. Trey was our leader on defense, but obviously he wasn't playing last year, and it's hard to lead when you're injured. I think Jordan Battle tried to step up a little bit and just wasn't able to. Cam Taylor-Britt may have as well, but he got hurt, and then he had some legal issues, so that's just out the window. So Carolina spent, but they needed it. Yeah, I think they spent well. The Jalen Phillips contract was a lot, but if he stays healthy, they're going to have a very good pass rush. And their secondary was already set. They already have very good secondary. Like I said, they got a ton of interceptions last year. Like, I didn't realize how good they were until the end of the year when I was watching them just in man coverage. They did really well in man coverage. They were just fun to watch schematically. So that's really good for the Carolina Panthers. And like I said, the onus of the pressure is going to be on Bryce Young to deliver these wins, to get, to the point where if the Panthers are allowing only 17 points per game, but the Panthers offense is only putting up 16 points per game, guess whose fault it is that you're losing? It's not the defense. I think anytime in the NFL a team is prevented from scoring 20 points, they should lose. And then I think that's a pretty consistent base. But yeah, they were sneaky good last year. They did the weird thing where they were like alternating wins losses. Like they would win and then lose, win and then lose, win and then lose. And it really put the Panthers in a bad situation with Bryce Young's contract as well. So it seems like they believe in him. They're investing in him, or at least around him. So, the Saints are kind of in a rebuild. They might be losing Alvin Kamara. Falcons, I have no idea what the Falcons are doing at quarterback. They have the weirdest quarterback room in the NFL now. They have Tua. They have Michael Penix Jr., and they technically still have Kirk Cousins, who's designated to be released. But, yeah, weird situation in the Falcons quarterback room. New head coach there in Atlanta. And then you've also got Tampa Bay, who Todd Bowles, I thought he was going to get fired. I know a lot of Tampa fans, and they were not happy with him. And they lost Mike Evans. Obviously, Emeka Ibuka can step up, hopefully, but Chris Godwin's a little bit older. Yeah, it's it's rough in Atlanta. I mean, I get that Tua is on a $1.3 million deal, and Penix is uh I mean, you can't write Penix off yet. I was never super high on Penix. I was also never super high on Malik Willis, though. And Malik Willis spent a few seasons in the league, and he looks a lot better now. I don't know that he's going to be like this guy who saves Miami, but he looks better than what he did coming out of their draft. I mean, that was my whole issue with him was they were talking him up as the savior of Tennessee, and then he just wasn't. But yeah, Penix still has time. He's just not there yet. And I don't know that Kevin Stefanski's going to, I mean, because he's not, that whole front office has changed now since Penix was drafted. And Matt Ryan is the president of football operations now. Is he a Penix guy? I don't know. Is Kevin Stefanski a Penix guy? Is their GM a Penix guy? None of these guys were associated with Penix. So do they want to bring in their own guy next year? We'll see. Maybe Tua balls out next year, this season, and they end up extending him. He did that last time he was in a contract year. And that's the reason why the Falcons got him for so cheap, because the Dolphins owe him $99 million. So, yeah, good deal if you're the Minnesota Vikings, or no, Atlanta Falcons. I keep thinking Minnesota Vikings because they need a quarterback as well. Yeah, Tua is cheap. They need a quarterback still, but the other part is they invested in a first-round pick into Michael Penix Jr. So what was he, the 8th-round pick that year? I mean, if you look at Bo Nix, was Drake May that same class? I'm trying to remember. I know that J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. were the same class. They're starting to run together a little bit. But because there was that Penix was the reason there was a run on quarterbacks, because no one expected the Atlanta Falcons to draft a quarterback that early in the draft. And then they took him like 8th overall, and it caused there to be this massive run on quarterbacks that weren't like Bo Nix wasn't supposed to go to like the late 1st, early 2nd. And Leatu Latu ended up being the first defensive player taken off the board by the Indianapolis Colts that draft, because there was this run on offensive players that were mainly quarterbacks. You're a Dolphins fan also, but happy Tua is gone. If you're a Dolphins fan also, would you rather see Malik Willis or Quinn Ewers? I'm not super high on either one of them, so I'd be kind of okay going either way. Everyone should be rushing to sign Tua's agent. His Miami contract was crazy. Apparently, Trey Hendrickson needs a new agent. So, wait, no, that's really Underdog NFL tweeted, Bills have reached out to edge Trey Hendrickson. I've reached out to edge Trey Hendrickson. Where's my tweet? I asked him if he wanted to come on the show. He did not DM me back. One day we'll get there. Together, we'll all get there. We do have some guests from the Cincinnati Bengals coming on the show on Thursday. Not players. They may not be people you even recognize, but I think that they'll share an interesting part of the game. Something that we see when you go to the game, but not something we necessarily think about all the time. And I think it'll be a fun conversation. I'm really excited to have these two individuals on, and I'm going to continue to tease it as vaguely as possible. But it'll be a fun conversation. Yeah, Trey needs a new agent, though, and everyone should be signing to his agent. Yeah, that was a bad contract, though, when we looked at it, right? I mean, did anyone look at that Tua Tagovailoa contract and go, yep, he's worth that? Because wasn't he getting paid more than Joe right off the bat? And that was kind of like the Dak deal as well. It almost seems like to re-sign a quarterback, you have to be willing to make them the highest paid quarterback. Now, there are exceptions to that with Malik Willis, like not getting that kind of money, but like your franchise guy. Vikings are looking to trade Jonathan Greenard. Which team wants him? Okay, well, I guess I would ask you this, Chris. I know you told me before. I'm just spacing. What do the Vikings want for him? And then what do you think the contract would look like to take him on? Uh, I don't know a ton about Jonathan Greenard. I know he's a great player, but I mean contract wise, I don't know where he's at. We can probably find that, but I'm sure whenever you ask like who wants him, there's probably teams that want players they can't afford players or don't want to invest. So right now he's going into the third year of a 4-year, $76,000 contract, including 16 and a half signing bonus, 38 million guaranteed. So, he's going to have a cap hit of 22 million the next 2 years wherever he goes. Would the Vikings be willing to take some of that on? The Vikings also have a potential out in 2026 at 2-year, 37 million with 9 million in dead cap. So you could technically cut him, it looks like, if I'm reading this spot track report correctly. Willis is needed at quarterback. Every time Tua runs the ball, everyone freaks out in local bombs. That's true of Joe Burrow too, though. At least for me, I freak out a little bit. Not as much as I used to, but for Jonathan Greenard, at least a second and maybe a fifth or a first contract probably would be 30 million. See, that's going to be really hard to sell on someone because Greenard's older. He's not young. Yeah, he's 29. And you know that those defensive linemen have a tendency to, which I guess he's technically an outside linebacker, but those edge rushers, if you will, tend to fall off around 30. So $30 million a year on top of a first round pick, I don't think you're going to have any team paying that. That's a huge ask, in my opinion. Now, maybe there's an injury or something and they're able to trade him in season, but Vikings aren't going to cut him. If anything, they would keep him. I think you should keep him. I mean, he's a good player. If you can afford to keep him, keep him. But I think 30 million, even a second and $30 million a year is hefty for me. And that's what I was saying. Like you asked which team wants him. I would love the Bengals to get Jonathan Greenard. Not for a first round pick and $30 million a year, though. That's big money. That's big money that I cannot afford if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. So you guys got Dallas Turner too. I mean, you guys have some good defensive players, very respectable defense, and I know you love Brian Flores, so maybe keep him if you can afford him. I don't see why you wouldn't. If you're willing to take like a third for him, then maybe that maybe opens the conversation a bit. But I agree, but Vikings don't want to pay him. His guaranteed money is gone. That's why he wants a new I see. So he wants a new contract at $30 million a year. That's kind of the situation Trey's in, right? Older edge rusher who you're betting. I mean, you're paying for what you think they're going to be able to do in the future, not necessarily what they've done. Obviously, what they've done goes into it. But if you look at the trends, edge rushers tend to fall off almost as soon as they hit 30. It's a hard cliff. And that's why I said they should give Trey multiple years and then front load his deal. That's not what they ended up doing. Trey is looking for a new deal. Obviously, as conditioning and stuff like that gets better, we may see that kind of that bell curve shift as they get older. But Trey did not help that. What happened with Trey? He signed a 1-year deal for $30 million, I think it was, and then he got injured. So he did not help the averages here. And that's just an unfortunate situation. There's some fans who think that he like sat out, gave up on the team, that type of thing. I don't buy into that. I do think he was legitimately hurt. And I think he even tried to play injured and just wasn't able to. So But I think it's going to be a hard sell to get $30 million for Jonathan Greenard. Maybe they pull it off. Maybe the Vikings are able to do it. Maybe Jonathan Greenard's able to do it. But I think that that's a risky move, especially with where the Vikings were. If they had everyone else under contract and it was clear that they're like a Jonathan Greenard away from winning the Super Bowl, that's one thing. But I don't think the Vikings are in that situation anymore. They've got a couple big contracts coming up. Well, now you're saying offer a third and a fifth, and Greenard is mine. That I'm more open to. Okay, I don't got my GM hat over here, but we can talk. We can talk later, Chris. I got to get Duke Tobin on the phone. I don't know that we can pull off the $30 million a year, and the Vikings may need to take on some of the contract, but of his current contract. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I could be open to a third and a fifth. I'd pick up the phone. I'll pick up the phone at third and a fifth. Okay, deal. Cheers. I got to run it past the Blackburns first, though. Let's sign Leo Chanel first, though, and then we'll get with Jonathan Greenard. This was last night. It got real quiet on Twitter, and kind of like how it is right now. There's not really anything going on. The last thing tweeted by anyone notable was Adam Schefter tweeted more about former Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs. He's just advertising his article he wrote. And right before that, when it was kind of silent, that was when the Brian Cook signing came through for the Bengals. So let's hope that's what we're about to get. We're gonna get a Leo Chanel signing. Yeah, it's been a quiet day. I was kind of shocked. It's kind of nice because so for those of you who don't know, I work third shift. So I get home at 8 a.m. and I went to bed. So yesterday when I woke up around 2:30 and I was making my recap post, and that took forever to go through everything in recap. Today was a lot shorter because I try to keep you guys informed even if I have to do it a little bit later because you guys might see something you didn't see before. But today's was a lot shorter. There was I think I saw there was almost 100 signings yesterday, or trades, or just re-signings. So yesterday was just crazy. And then today we haven't seen as much, but I'm sure we'll still see something. There's Devin Lloyd signed at 10 o'clock or agreed to sign. That's the other thing. Most of these deals will go through. Almost 99% of them will go through. But these players haven't signed, so they could back out theoretically in the next 2 days. They don't sign till tomorrow. So we'll see. Yeah, graveyard shift sucks. I agree. It's rough sometimes. It's not too bad. But on days like today where you want to be up at noon and getting all the latest news, it is a bit annoying, but it's got its advantages. I don't have to sit in meetings as much, so that's cool, right? It's just me and one other person working there. So if we need to meet, we just talk, just have a conversation. Yep. Let's see. Saints and Chiefs sign running backs amid debate over missing draft star Jeremiah Love. That's a good point. On this Twitter trending now thing just popped up. Jeremiah Love, he was mocked to the Saints and the Chiefs. Both of them have signed big name running backs now. Now the Saints may lose Alvin Kamara. We don't know that yet. There's rumors he could be looking for a new team. But do the Chiefs still sign Jeremiah Love in the first round now that they've put a ton of money into Kenneth Walker? Do they also invest a first-round pick in their running game? Same with the Saints. They brought in Travis Etienne. So So we've got. You know what? We haven't gotten to play it in a while. I'm gonna play it. This isn't huge news at all. I just made that yesterday and I really like it. The Browns have re-signed free agent guard Tevin Jenkins, who played in all 17 games last season. So they're getting him back as a right guard. Um, we were talking just a few moments ago about guards that are out there. Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio, I believe, were their starters at guard. They had some injuries, and Tevin Jenkins is a good player, not a bad player at all. Maybe not who you want starting at guard, but they got a guy back who's familiar with the team. Loved the Vikings at 18. He's going to fall. At this rate, he might. I don't know. I don't know where Jeremiah Love is going to go, because do you invest a top 10 pick in a running back? Is he worth it? Maybe. But the two teams that we're going to invest that supposedly have brought in new people. So, we've got two new signings. Let's see here. Let me read this right. The Jets are signing former Bears cornerback Nashawn Wright to a 1-year, $5.5 million deal per Jordan Schultz. So Nashawn Wright coming off a Pro Bowl season. Jets continue to invest in that defense. Aaron Glenn is making his presence known in the front office clearly. And then the Broncos free agent safety PJ Locke is signing with the Cowboys on a 1-year, $5 million deal per Ian Rappaport. So two DB signings here, both about 1 year, $5 million. Probably both depth signings, not super big, but notable nonetheless. Those safeties, those DBs get hurt quite a bit, and you lose them for 1 and 2 games, and it can make or break your defense. Very familiar with that, unfortunately. So PJ Locke, coming from a very good defense in the Denver Broncos, he's going over to the Cowboys, where they struggled last year. They were kind of in the same boat as the Bengals. And then Nashawn Wright is going over to the Jets to be a DB. So got some moves. I don't believe any of our top 5 have been signed. I've got them going across the bottom there. I don't think we missed anything. Oop, we got another notification. Is it just the same? It's just the same thing. That's the other thing with these notifications, is you get like 8 per player. So, because I've got everyone's turned on. I've got all the major insiders stuff turned on, and a few beat reporters as well. So yeah. So far, I think the Bengals are winning in free agency, though. We lost Cordell Volson, technically. Cordell Volson didn't play last year. But we did lose him. We lost Joseph Asai. I think Joseph Asai is probably our biggest loss so far, because I liked Noah Fant, but Noah Fant did cause some problems for the Bengals. He also didn't do a whole lot for the tight end room. He did a lot less than I thought he was going to. I think he did more than Seahawks fans thought he was going to, and less than I thought he was going to. So, but adding Brian Cook is huge. That's a major, major move. Like, I don't think non-Bengals fans realize how bad Geno Stone was last year. And it showed, and it hurt Jordan Battle. Boye Mafe is, I think that's winning for me as well. I think he's going to be very good. He's very athletic, very quick, young. I think we got him on a good deal for where the rest of the pass rushers are at his level. I think there's a ton of potential there. Ton of pressures that he's gotten. Very good player. So Boye Mafe and Brian Cook are great signings. We just can't stop now. The Bengals got to keep going. I'm waiting on that Daniel Jones contract. We know that they at least were very close in signing a deal. So I want to know what Daniel Jones' price is for the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts, that may be their only 2 moves that they can afford. They lost Braden Smith to the Texans, but they paid Alec Pierce a ton of money. They traded Michael Pittman Jr. That's to the Steelers, unfortunately. But I think that this is a very good wide receiver class as well. So you can get a guy in the draft to replace Michael Pittman Jr. You got Tyler Warren's a great receiving tight end as well. So you've got options. Obviously, you're paying Jonathan Taylor, who does a little bit of receiving, not a ton, but the Colts are in a pretty good spot. It just will depend on what that contract is for Daniel Jones. Is it going to be a ton of money or not? Let's see here. The more I think about Jeremiah Love to the Vikings, that would actually be really good because you guys need a pass-catching running back too. So, or running back as well. Not that he would be the running back too. I think he would beat out Jordan Mason if that were to happen. But having him and then Jordan Mason on a fairly cheap deal would be a good signing, I think. Yeah, that probably makes a ton of sense if he's able to fall to you guys. Definitely would change the dynamic of that offense as well. Let's see. What other big signings have we not talked about yet? If there's something you guys want to talk about, inform me of something. Feel free to as well. We got some kicker signings. The Dolphins signed Zane Gonzalez after releasing Jason Myers, who didn't really play. I think, is it Jason Myers or Jason Sanders? Maybe Jason Sanders. Yeah, Jason Sanders. I'm sorry. Jason Sanders got released by the Dolphins. He didn't really play last year because he was injured. And then the Texans also extended my fantasy football kicker, Ka'imi Fairbairn, to a 2-year, $13 million extension. We too extended him on my fantasy football team after we won the trophy. So pretty big deal. We're making some moves here in Houston and on the No Buts About It football team. So I like that for the Texans. He's just fantastic. Brandon Aubrey, speaking of kickers, is another one who we should be keeping an eye on because he wants a new contract and the Cowboys don't really seem like they want to pay him what he wants. And I think we can safely say Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the NFL. So it'll be very interesting to see what we get out of Brandon Aubrey's contract. Nahshon Wright. Since they keep posting about Nahshon Wright, let's learn about Nahshon Wright more. I know that he had a Pro Bowl year. I know that he was on the Chicago Bears, but let's learn a little bit more about him together. I'm in the wrong. I got 2 Google accounts and only one of them has the data sheet that I use. Okay, let's see here. Nahshon Wright. Let's look at his stats. 65 solo tackles, which was 9th out of 114 qualifying cornerbacks. Not bad at all. 5 interceptions, 1 pressure, which is fine for a DB. And he had 53 receptions allowed. So that hurts him a little bit, but those 5 interceptions is nice. That's very good. And that's kind of that's exactly what the Jets needed. They had 0 interceptions last season. And so they're bringing in the guy who led the NFL in qualifying CBs in interceptions with 5 last season. So that's exactly I don't know what just fell. I don't know if you heard that something just fell. We will worry about that later. But the Jets are bringing in someone to be a ball hawk and on a good deal, $5 million deal, 1 year. So he seems to really be a pretty well-rounded cornerback. Not amazing. He's not going to change your entire world here on defense, but if he can create turnovers, that would be very good for what the Jets need, and they don't have currently. Will Reichard is the best kicker in the NFL. He didn't miss as many kicks as Brandon Aubrey did. Well, Brandon Aubrey was also attempting kicks from like 66 yards out. Was Will Reichard? I'm not being sarcastic. I'm honestly asking because I'm trying to remember. Did Will Reichard? What was Will Reichard's average kick attempt? NFL police are trying to break in. Did you hear that? That was really loud. I want to go. Hang on. I'm going to make sure it wasn't something like fragile. It's something that can wait, and there's not like something spilling. What is this? Okay. It was a vegetable chopper that fell onto a bag of pretzels. So that is what that loud noise was. For those wondering. It was really loud though. Dang, Rich Simini. He tweeted, "The Jets are signing former Bears cornerback Nahshon Wright to a 1-year contract, source confirms. Good value for the Jets. Wright had 5 interceptions last season. That's 5 more than the Jets." True. Like we just said, it's factually accurate. Not a bad deal at all for the Jets. Jets are continuing to make moves. After getting Geno Smith, they've been making some trade. They made some trades as well in season. Got rid of Sauce Gardner. They got those 2 first-round picks. They got Quinnen Williams as well, or picks for Quinnen Williams. So Will Reichard. Will Reichard only missed 2 field goals and no extra points, and Long was 62. So what was what did Brandon? Let's pull up Brandon Aubrey's stats. We got time. We got time while we're waiting on the Leo Chanel signing. So Leo Chanel, Brandon Aubrey attempted 42. He made 36. So he missed, what is that? 6. He missed 6. What's his long? So he attempted 17 from 50 plus. All 6 of his misses came from 50 plus, and Pro Football Reference doesn't have a 60 plus mark. His long was 64. His extra point, he missed 1 extra point. So I see the argument for Will Reichard. I need to see, of those 6 made or 6 missed from 50 plus, how many of them were actually from 60 plus? Because I feel like he kicked a lot from 60 plus. But we will never know. We will never know. Let's see. Tom Brady returns to the field in the Fanatics Flag Football Classic on Saturday, March 21st. I just got a notification for that. You can buy your tickets for that in Ticketmaster. So if you're bored on March 21st, I'm going to go see Sawyer Brown on March 21st. So I'm busy. If you haven't seen Sawyer Brown, they're great in concert. Mark Miller's a nice guy. Met him. Cool. 90s any 90s country fans out there? While we're waiting for the Leo Chanel signing, any 90s country fans in the chat? Aubrey missed 2 field goals against the Vikings this year, and both were under 60. Okay. I love 90s country. Are you a Sawyer Brown fan? I went and saw them. Was that in December of last year, or was that Diamond? I saw Diamond Rio in December. but they were great in concert. Super fun, especially for their age. Ton of energy still. And that was a great show. Going to see him again with my mom because she didn't get to go to that other concert. Um, we're gonna go see Sawyer Brown. They were supposed to see him in January, and they had to reschedule due to a snowstorm. 90s country is just great. I love all sorts of country, though. I have all sorts of albums. My playlists are crazy. I'll go from like Morgan Wallen to Waylon Jennings to Hank Sr. in one 3-song swoop. I have only gone to one concert in my life, and it was Tim McGraw. He's on my list, and he is coming to Indianapolis this summer. I do want to see him. I have not seen Tim McGraw. I go to concerts all the time, though. I love concerts. I love live music. And I talk to people who are like, we can skip the openers. The openers are how you discover new music. And then you go and you get their autograph while they're an opener, because if they blow up, then you've got their autograph. Think, people. Like Ella Langley used to be playing, like dive bars. She used to be no one. And now she's the hottest thing in music right now. Same with Megan Maroney, Morgan Wallen. Taylor Swift was there at one point. Although, of course, she was much younger when she blew up. But my point is, go see the openers, because the openers, they've got it. They're doing it for love of the game, too. And there are some great openers out there. I've discovered some great music, made some friends online by going to see the openers. Girl I've been following now, Harper Grace. There's a 19-year-old named Colton Dawson, who, if you like old school country, you'd like him. He came out with Clay Walker, and they just did like a freestyle, like, do you know this song? Oh no, I don't know this song. Like, they just went back and forth, and they played like Keith Whitley. They were playing the classics, George Jones. So that was really cool. And I think Colton Dawson's got something special. But yeah, I love concerts. I love live music. Country music is awesome. Got any? Let's see what other we can go back. We can go back to talking about the NFL now. What do we think about the Bears signing former Lions wide receiver Khalif Raymond? I saw that Amon-Ra St. Brown said he was going to miss him, said he was one of the best teammates he's ever had. Nothing but kind words, but he's going to a division rival now. He's also a returner, so they've got that now if they need it in Chicago. They lost a ton of their receivers. Obviously, the big one being DJ Moore, who they traded to the Bills. So Khalif Raymond, yeah, he is a small wide receiver, but I think he's going to wind up being depth, and he's got potential to be their returner. So I haven't seen. Let me see if I can find the contract. The initial post did not have it. It just said that they had agreed to, he was going to sign there. The Lions appear, or the Detroit Times have acknowledged that Khalif Raymond had the most punt return yards in Lions history. It's a 1-year, $5 million deal. So I think that's a good deal for what you get out of Khalif Raymond. And he's also reuniting with Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall L in Chicago. So two coaches that know him, know what he brings to the table, what he can bring to the table. So I think that's a really good signing for the Chicago Bears. $5 million for a depth wide receiver with a ton of upside and return percentage. Do you think Keenan Allen could go back to Chicago? I don't know why he could. I really like Keenan Allen. He's a guy who I think is very underrated. But he wasn't really, a part of the offense at times in Chicago. And, things have changed. Times have changed. Caleb Williams has improved, stuff like that. DJ Moore's gone now. But it seems like the Bears want to get younger at wide receiver. And so I don't know why they would bring back Keenan Allen. And I don't know why the Chargers haven't extended him, to be honest, because him and Justin Herbert have a great rapport. They're just better together. than what he was in Chicago. I get, they've got Lad McConkey, they've got some other younger guys too. Gadsden was kind of a shocking ad in the tight end game. I just think if I'm Keenan Allen, I don't want to keep, bouncing back between two cities because that's something we forget. For us, it's a tweet, right? Like it's a tweet. Okay, this player was in Chicago and now they're going to Florida. And it's like, okay, in my mind, I just have to think of this person as a Buccaneer now. But for them, they've got to pay people to move or they've got to move themselves. If they've got kids, they've got to move their kids. They've got to change schools. Like there's all sorts of other stuff that goes into it for them. For us, it's just, the jersey change. And maybe we lose a player that we really like. But if I'm Keenan Allen, I don't want to keep bouncing back and forth between Chicago and LA. That's just a lot. So I would just go back to LA because I don't think he's going to get a big contract that breaks the bank. He's older. I think he's in his 30s now. Just sign a short-term deal or maybe he retires. I'm not sure, but I think he should stay in LA. I think his legacy is better spent in LA. I think the Bears will draft a wide receiver in the first or second round. Yeah, I could see that. I could also see them waiting because it's a deep wide receiver class. Maybe there's something else they feel like they need to add first on the defensive side of the ball. Did they bring back Swift? Or is Swift still under contract, I guess is what I should be asking. I know Menengai was really good. There were a ton of deep running backs last year that looked really good, like 7th rounders. So that was great and that may hurt the running backs this year. But let's see here. DeAndre Swift contract. Could they go after another deep running back or 3-year, $24 million deal? So he's in his last year of his contract. Okay, I thought he was coming up on. So this is his final year. So they could draft a running back. I could see that. Yeah. I was trying to remember. I knew that he signed his deal a while ago, and I couldn't remember what the length was on it. And so he's entering his final year of his contract. But I think yeah, wide receiver could be. I wouldn't say first round. I'd say second round. I bet they go after someone in the first or in the second round, barring something crazy happening and Lemon falling to them or Carnell Tate falling to them somehow, which I just don't think is going to happen. But everyone was saying Shedeur Sanders was going to be a first round pick last year, and then he slid. So we'll see. I didn't think Shedeur was going to be a first-round pick, but I didn't think Tyler Shuck was going to go before Shedeur Sanders. So that was crazy. Going down the list. What happened after yesterday's stream? Hey, B. Wilkes, what do you got on Benjamin St. Juste? He's leaving the Chargers after, I believe, a year. He was on the Commanders, and now he's heading to the Packers. Is that something that Chris needs to be worried about as a Vikings fan? Benjamin St. Juste heading over there. I don't have that contract yet. Let's see if that came out. That had not came out when I went to bed. That was the first signing of the day that was announced, and I just posted that right before I left work. 2-year, $10 million deal with some upside to 10.5. So $5 million a year for Benjamin St. Juste. He's nothing special, but that's what I kind of thought. I saw some people were hating on him when he left the Commanders, saying he was a nobody, but that just didn't match the eye test that I'd seen of him. But you'd obviously watched him a lot more than I had. Yeah, I think, and especially because they're releasing Nate Hobbs. I don't know if you saw that. The Packers are releasing Nate Hobbs. I think this is a good deal now that I know the contract for the Packers. And apparently, according to PFSN, he has the lowest passer rating this season with a minimum, or third lowest, with a minimum of 10 targets. Deion Kendrick with the Seahawks was 19.9, and Jamel Dean with the Bucks in 27.4, and then Benjamin St-Juste with the Chargers 27.5. That was back in October though, so that was that's an old stat. I don't like the new Twitter format, but anyway, Benjamin St-Juste goes to the Packers on a 2-year, $10 million deal. I think we're all in agreement that's a good signing for them. Let's see what else we got. Elijah Vera Tucker to the Patriots. That happened last night. 3-year, $42 million deal. I think that's a risky signing, but if you can keep him healthy, that's a very good signing. Former first-round pick who was like Pro Bowl level player for the Jets when he was healthy, but that was where he really struggled. He struggled to stay healthy. Now he's going over to a division rival in the Patriots, and that was what they needed. They need an offensive line for Drake May. That was where they struggled in the Super Bowl. That was where they struggled throughout most of the playoffs, actually. Was that O-line. And Will Campbell, still young, still learning, but he did not look great. He looked rough throughout the playoffs. So getting Elijah Vera Tucker in there, another first-round pick, could help Drake May, but he's got to stay healthy. He has had so many injuries. I think he's had pec injuries. I think he tore his triceps at one point. It's a big if. It's a very big if. And where that contract is, what did I say? 3-year, $42 million. Yeah, where that contract is kind of averages out. You're going to be paying a lot of money for a guy sitting on the bench, but you're also going to be paying not a lot of money for a guy who's protecting someone like Drake May. So, that's hard. That's hard. That's $14 million a year for a guard. So, what do you think about? Do we know the contract? I think the Colts should. Apparently, they've agreed to terms, but I don't know the numbers. I know that Alec Pierce wanted Jones back. I know that most Colts fans wanted Jones back. I think they should extend him. They've got to, at some point, do something to get stability at that quarterback position. They have not had stability at that position since Andrew Luck retired, and it has been irritating. And Daniel Jones finally provided that. Now Jordan Schultz is saying has made progress on a long-term deal, but have not finalized anything as of right now. Both sides remain in contact. Supposedly he turned down a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. This Sports Illustrated article from Albert Breer says he's eyeing a $50 million a year contract, which is insane. That has potential to go the 2-0 route, right? One really good year, and yet market breaking contract. I don't know that I like $50 million a year. I could maybe do $40 million a year for Daniel Jones, but he's coming off injury. It's got too many investments for the Colts. They invested 2 firsts into Sauce Gardner. They've invested a first into Anthony Richardson, who did nothing. I think I would have to, if I can't get him for $30 million a year, 35 to 40 would probably be my ceiling. Because if Daniel Jones gets $50 million a year, he must have Tua's agent. Let's check. We can. That's public. While the Bengals and Leo Chenal are banging out the end of this contract here, we'll see who So we got Cameron Hahn, Andrew Kessler, and Brian Murphy of Athletes First are Daniel Jones agents. Tua's agents is Chris Cabot of Equity Sports. So they do not have the same agents, but that's crazy if he gets $50 million a year. I would not pay that if I'm the Colts, especially after they just paid Alec Pierce a ridiculous amount of money. Like, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Like, I get that the Bengals have a ton invested in wide receivers and quarterbacks, but I think we would all agree that Joe Burrow is better than Daniel Jones and that Jamar Chase is better than Alec Pierce. And like, they paid Alec Pierce T. Higgins money. I think Alec Pierce is making more per year than T. Higgins now. And I think right now I would say T. Higgins is better than Alec Pierce. I think Alec Pierce has developed fantastically as a wide receiver. He's developed his route tree more, become more versatile, but I don't think he's better than T. Higgins yet. And so that was a huge contract for Alec Pierce. I don't know. This isn't a great quarterback class either. They're kind of backed into a corner. If Kyler Murray signs somewhere, the Colts are screwed because they can at least leverage that right now and say, hey, Kyler Murray's still out there. I don't know that that's what they're doing, but they could theoretically do that. But if Kyler Murray signs somewhere, then it's like, okay, he's not out there. Daniel Jones is your option, or Anthony Richardson, who wants a trade. I'm glad you agree T is better right now. If Alec Pierce gets better at, which he has improved here, at the intermediate routes, I think an argument could be made. But right now, T is just better at point of contact catches. Phillip Rivers is still available for the Colts. True. Maybe that's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, Phillip Rivers, he's still out there. Maybe they run with Riley Leonard. I don't know. But right now, I think Riley Leonard's the only quarterback they technically have under contract right now. Unless you count the transition tag for Daniel Jones. Addison is better than T. Get out of here. No, stay. But you can stay, but that's wrong. You know that's wrong. Jordan Addison is not better than T. Higgins. I'll give you Will Reichard over Brandon Aubrey. I'm not giving you Jordan Addison over T. No. I'll give you Justin Jefferson over T. How's that? Is that a fair compromise? Have you guys looked at the Tyler Linderbaum contract, by the way? Ari Mirov just tweeted about it again. Tyler Linderbaum is making $27 million a year as the highest paid center. The next highest paid center is Creed Humphrey with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's making $18 million. Tyler Linderbaum signed a contract nearly $10 million more than the next highest paid center. That's absolutely crazy. But I think it's what the Raiders needed, especially with Fernando Mendoza coming in. They've already moved Jackson Powers Johnson over to guard. So they needed a center. They got a center. They got a very good center. Jefferson over. You're crazy. Chris, no. Like, it's close. It's close, but give me Jamar. Give me Uno. Give me my boy. Should we do a giveaway? What kind of giveaway would you guys like? I'm not saying we're going to do it today. Yesterday, I said if Devin Lloyd signed with the Bengals, then I'd give away a jersey, but that didn't happen. So what kind of giveaway should we do here at the channel? Also, I know Chris has put in his suggestions for money. I still got that money from Piper's Picks to donate to animal shelters around the country. Let me know what animal shelters deserve to be donated to. Piper has raised $150 for that, and we can split it up and donate it to wherever. I'll probably do that at the end of March to help out those in need, those animal shelters in need. And I want to give it to communities that support us. So just let me know where that money should be headed off to. Great cause. Yeah. We do at work. So I work in news. We do a lot of work with animal shelters, and we're interviewing them constantly, and they're constantly in need of stuff. Also, food pantries. We do a lot of stuff with food pantries, and something I recently learned that surprised me, and I do stuff with our food pantry at church as well. But peanut butter is apparently one of the least donated items, but one of the best items because it's high in protein and it has a long shelf life. So if you're looking to donate to a food pantry, peanut butter, apparently it's a need, at least here in Indiana. So I assume it's a need elsewhere as well. Just shout out peanut butter. I love peanut butter. So spread the love. Spread the love. That's what we're doing here. But we're going to donate $150 to various animal shelters around the country, especially as we enter into kitten season. Spay and neuter your pets, everyone. You know, the old Bob Barker saying. But yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought peanut butter would be like one of the most popular donated thing, like because that's easy, right? Like you can just go to the store and buy peanut butter to donate. Um, Fairly cheap. Now, obviously, everyone's income is different, but it's fairly accessible, right? And so I was surprised that more people weren't donating that, but I was told when we went last time that they need peanut butter. That's what they really wanted. So they did like a drive dedicated to just peanut butter because I mean it's so versatile too. Like you can put it in recipes. Obviously, you can put it on like just crackers as an easy snack. Kids will eat peanut butter and jelly. Most kids will eat peanut butter and jelly. So it's you can put it on toast. Like it's such a versatile, high protein, low kind of effort thing that people in need can eat, keep on their shelves. You know, it's good. Most people like it. It tastes good. The only exception is like if you're allergic to it, obviously. But yeah, if you're looking to donate to your food bank, may need peanut butter. So that's my PSA for the peanut butter lovers out there who need it. It's gotten real quiet again here on Twitter. Let's see if we got any rumors kind of going around about Leo Chanel. He's who I was really hoping for today. He's who I was really, really wanting to pull for. We're probably going to go. I got to go to a meeting tonight that starts at 6. I got about a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive there. So I'll probably hop off here at 5:30. So we got about another hour. Caden Ellis, I think, was the other player I was thinking of who's out there. Leo Chanel. A lot of teams really want Leo Chanel. He's got a good market now that Devin Lloyd is out. Reek Woolen still out there. Reek Woolen is very big player, very good player. I don't know that I would be interested in him for what his contract is likely going to be, but very good player. He's still out there. Nick Cross. We got safety, but Nick Cross is another great player. If Epinesa would be another good depth piece too, who I think we could get fairly cheap. Cam Jordan's still out there as well. I keep forgetting about it. It's crazy that he might not be a Saint next season. But Leo Chanel is he's my golden. Let's see. What did we say Devin Lloyd got? Let's go back to the Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd got $15 million. I would put Leo Chanel around 8. I think we could get him for around 8 a year because he was a backup in Kansas City behind Drew Tranquil, 260 Fort Wayne boy. I went to the same high school as him actually. But I think Leo Chanel could be around 8 million. Let me see what PFF is projecting his contract as. I bet it's around 8 minutes. Devin Lloyd went for less than I thought as well, though. So I'm not a math guy by any means. I don't have the time to constantly sit and compare contracts. I wish I did. Wish I did for you guys, but I don't. Um, why is this the way that it is? So PFF is projecting him at 2 years, $6 million average a year with 10 million guaranteed. So that's a little lower than what I had, but same kind of range. Um, I I think he could get 8 million a year. If we can get him for $6 million a year, that would be awesome. That would be great because he's the thing that he has that Devin Lloyd doesn't really have as much is he's versatile. Uh, let's pull up his chart, his defensive lineup chart. I think I can just because he kind of lined up all over the place. There's a way to see that, and I always have to click on a bunch of things before I actually get there. Cam Jordan should come to the Vikings. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you trade Jonathan Greenard to the Saints, and then Cam Jordan comes to the Vikings. Maybe that's how that ends up working out. Snaps by position. That's what we want. So let me see if I can present this tab just so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Close you, open. I have like 30 tabs open on my computer right now. So the reason I like Chanel so much is because he is versatile. Like I said, young, cheap, versatile. So let's make sure you can see everything. Okay. So if you look here, this is broken up by games. He didn't play every week last season, but he played most of the season. And so you can see where he kind of lined up and what he did. He lined up in the box most of the time, but he also lined up on the line quite a bit. And then he also lined up as a slot corner. And when he lined up on the D line, he lined up as a defensive tackle quite a bit. That's not shown on this chart, but there was another chart I saw that broke it down. He's also got some special teams experience. He played in almost every game that he could. Let's see here if we can. There we go. That's what we want. Beautiful. So we can see down to the actual position where he lined up. So obviously he's spending most of his time in the box, but he's all over the place within the box. He's a left linebacker, left inside linebacker, middle linebacker a little bit, right inside linebacker, just kind of wherever he's needed. And I think that's where he's a little bit better, a little bit more exciting in my mind. So Leo Chanel, very versatile player, very exciting player. If you can get him in a $6 million contract, then you're getting a steal. So that's my opinion, though. And, Devin Lloyd's not out there anymore, so why not? Just do it. Just do it. We need a linebacker. No one is disagreeing that the Bengals need linebackers. The front office should know this. We got a summary. See, we're reaching the point. When you start getting summaries on Twitter, that's when you know it's a slow news day. Ari Mirov just tweeted, Jets edition so far. Traded for Geno Smith. That doesn't really move the needle for me. I get it's a cool storyline that he's like returning to New York, but I'm not worried about that. We'll see what Stan the Jet fan says about that. They traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. That could go either way. I think they only invested like a 7th in that though, so he's a very good safety, but a little bit older. Traded for defensive tackle Devondre Sweat. That is probably their best trade so far. I would say getting for the scheme that they run, getting a big boy up front like Tavondre Sweat is going to be very helpful for them. So good for them. Signed defensive lineman Joseph Asai, 3-year, $36 million deal. I like that. I think Joseph Asai has a ton of potential. Signed defensive lineman Kingsley Enigbare, 1-year, $10 million deal, kind of a prove it deal. Has a ton of potential there too. Signed linebacker Demario Davis, 2-year, $22 million deal. Older linebacker, like going into his 14th season, I think, but can be a veteran presence on that defense for sure. Still a very good linebacker as well. So don't let his age scare you. They signed defensive lineman David Onyemata, 1-year, $10.5 million. Then we just talked about signing Nashawn Wright for 1 year, $5.5 million, kind of a ball hawk, get those turnovers that they were missing last year. He led the league with 5. And then they signed safety Dane Belton to a 1-year, $4 million deal. So that's a depth signing. So Jets have made some moves, and they've still got a ton of draft picks. And what is happening? That's funny. Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So what popped up on my screen was just that Ian Rappaport tweeted Tom. That was all I got. This was the tweet that he was responding to with Tom Pelissero. The Steelers have signed punter Cameron Johnson to a 1-year contract, or Bill Berg. So I never noticed how much he looked like Bill Berg or Bill Burr, but yeah, that's what I was chuckling at. Funny. We got another notification. It's just the Tom thing again. Nothing too exciting. Nothing too. Ooh. They're teasing me. They're teasing me on Twitter, guys. They're not being very nice. I want some big news here. I made up a whole like clip thing and everything. How are you guys holding up? We got 10 of you in the chat right now. It says, how are we holding up? I don't think Bengals did enough. I would agree. I agree 100%. Right now, the Bengals have not did enough. It was a really good start, though, because last year, I don't think they did anything on day one. But I like Boye Mafe. I love Brian Cook. Get me Leo Chanel. Get me another cheap edge for depth, like an AJ Epinesa, Joey Bosa, some sort of vet. Get me that. We get me maybe a defensive tackle. Just do something. Get me Leo Chanel, and then like an edge would be really, really good to be entering the draft with that situation. I would be really happy with that. But yeah, right now, Bengals are nowhere near done. They should not be done. They need to be on the phone with people right now. Holding up, but I need to see a guard signing soon, please. Yeah, there's got to be. I'm surprised Wyatt Teller's still available. I wonder what Wyatt Teller is asking, because I know that he was expected to have a pretty good market. We have plenty of cap space. I think Wyatt Teller may be someone you're talking to, maybe Joel Bitonio. Bob blah blog. I don't know. I'm not going to even touch that comment. We're just going to delete that because that's not cool. I don't want to get in trouble. And it's not true. Like, what? Leo Chanel's a great player. We just talked about it. He's like versatile. He's young. He's got a ton of potential. I didn't touch it. Cool. But yeah, the Bengals have not done enough. We need to see more. I'll give you Joe. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad that we can agree on that. Joe Burrow is better than JJ McCarthy. Huday92 or Huday9G2S. Who do you think the bang. What is like your perfect vision for the Bengals, to where you'd be happy with this free agency cycle? Also, Chris says that Jordan Addison is better than T. Higgins, so everyone point and laugh at him. Okay. I think we don't have a ton of news right now. This may be a perfect opportunity for me to go refill my water bottle. Speaking of which, you can get these Piper's picks stickers on the merch link. I believe it's down below. If it's not, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure I put it in the description. Yep. If you click on support the show, you can buy some merch, help us out. I'm not making a ton of profit on it. It's just the distribution cost is a little bit more expensive, but I appreciate anything you can do. But the Piper's Pick stickers are a great way to support the show and support Piper. Everybody loves an underdog. Cool little graphic me and my friends have designed. But I'm going to go refill my water bottle real quick. You go buy those stickers, and we'll meet up here in a second. The link says no link found. What? Oh my gosh. Hang on. Thank you for letting me know that, Chris. We got to fix that right now. Thank you for trying also. That's problematic because I have been just copying and saving that link over from video to video. Where is... If I send... Hang on. I'm going to put it in the chat, first of all. Does that link work? Does this one work that I just sent to the chat? Let me know. Hopefully it does. Let's see if it'll let me update that link while we're streaming. Let's mute that. Yes, that link works. Awesome. Thank you. Sweet. Thank you guys so much for letting me know. Let's get that updated right now. That is unfortunate. Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, what YouTube lets you do is it will let you just copy over different things from... So like you can copy the title from a previous video or copy the description or copy the demographic. Whatever you want to copy over, you can just copy over. And so I always just copy over the description because then I don't need to retype out all those links to like my Twitter and stuff. But apparently that did not work for the site, unfortunately. So thank you so much for letting me know that it works. Now you can go buy the Everybody Loves an Underdog sticker. There's hats, t-shirts, whatever on there. They're pretty good quality. They're very good quality. I was very happy. We had a merch site we were using before that I was not happy with. And so this one was suggested to me by actually Dion from Dose of Dion, who he does great stuff as well. He's been on the channel before. Thank you for being patient with us there. And that link should be updated now in the description as well. Okay, now that we've got that done, what is X saying? We got anything? Nope. Still just the Steelers are re-signing punter Cameron Johnson. Oh, we do have a thing. It's an offensive lineman signing. Let's play the thing. Darian Kinnard is signing back with the Packers on a one-year deal worth up to $3.75 million per source, according to Jeremy Fowler. Yes, I will be doing this show tomorrow as well. Same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. May go a little bit later, kind of feel what the vibe is. Like I said a little bit earlier, I do need to hop off on at like 5:30 today to go to a meeting, but I don't think I have anything. I do so much stuff in the community that sometimes I forget. No, I don't think I have anything tomorrow night, so I can go as long as we need to tomorrow night, or at least until I need to go to bed before work. And but I will be on tomorrow. We'll be talking. We'll be hanging out. So love for you to come join us as well. B. Wilkes. Hopefully we'll get you a guard at some point. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. Thursday, I'm doing an interview for the channel. Like I said, got an exciting interview coming up. Just kind of want to share a different side of the game, right? You know, we talk about the players all the time, talk about the coaches. This is you'll know what this thing is. You'll know what these people's job is. You'll recognize their position, but I don't even know what all goes into what they do. So I think it'll be exciting and it'll be fun. But Wednesday we'll be back. Thursday, that video will be up. If something big happens Thursday, I might go live at some point. We just kind of have to see where the week takes us. Monday was obviously the big signing day, though. Very quiet. Very, very quiet. Hey, Chris, you're usually our number one commenter. Just wanted to let you know, B. Wilkes is currently beating you out. Just letting you know that. B. Wilkes is winning right now. Silver Wolf, who some of you know, who's been great to us, I'm surprised he's not around. He keeps reposting the advertisements on my Twitter for the live stream, but he hasn't come into the live stream yet. Oh boy, what have I done? Yeah, look, this is what I'm seeing on my side now. Well, that one doesn't bother me as much. You're a dork. Panthers re-signed 31-year-old wide receiver David Moore, valuable leader to the wide receiver room that has been with Dave Canales for a long time. That is according to David Newton with ESPN, retweeted by Jeremy Fowler. So Panthers get a veteran in their locker room back. Not DJ Moore, David Moore. We want this guy. This is the guy we're waiting on. That's the big name. We'd also take this guy. Hashtag winning. Yeah, he's still winning. You're still number 2, Chris. Trying to drive up the engagement. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Keep dreaming your Bengals won't get them too much. Leo Chanel is $8 million. Like that is, we got it. We can get him. Like you're just a hater. Chris is a certified hater. I got it. We used to say Chuss was toxic. Chris is toxic. Chuss used to be really toxic. Chuss was like a certified hater. He's calmed down a little bit in his old age. But I will keep dreaming until Leo Chanel signs with someone who isn't the Cincinnati Bengals. I will continue to dream. You always say you own. I say that. Usually I'm the one saying that they're not. I mean, they are cheap-ish, but like I don't think they're as cheap as like what the narrative says they are. Like I wouldn't have paid Trey Hendrickson what he's asking, and they didn't, and apparently a lot of people aren't. I mean, there's things I wish they did better. I wish like the food and nutrition was better. I wish the conditioning was better, but I think they pay players well or fairly well. You know, Dalton Reisner got a good deal. Joe Burrow's obviously got a deal. T. Higgins. Are they the best owners in the NFL? No. Are there worse owners? Probably. I'd hope so. I think so. I mean, the Bears are thinking about relocating to Gary, Indiana, because they don't want to pay what the Illinois government wants them to. That's a little political. But the Gary Bears could be a reality. Your Minnesota Vikings will have to travel into Gary, Indiana at least once a year to play the Bears. What a dream. Speaking of the Bears, former Bills defensive back Cam Lewis has just signed to the Chicago Bears on a 2-year deal. Another depth signing. Let's learn about him a little bit because we got time. We got time to learn about Cam Lewis to the Chicago Bears. See who you're going to be facing, Chris. Who your boys will be facing. Not great. It's looking rough for Cam Lewis. Not going to lie to you. He's below average overall grade, below average coverage grade. Obviously, grade doesn't always show what's on tape, but he seems to be a run defender when it comes to being a safety. That seems to be his strength, and even that's not fantastic. He had 26 solo tackles, no interceptions, and he allowed 24 receptions. So not a great look. Maybe it'd be a change of scenery, help him out, but this isn't a big signing. Bears suck. Spoken like a true Vikings fan. You're still in second, by the way. I don't know if you're still just saying the Bears suck because you're trying to win, but B. Wilkes still has you beat. the Bears signing Cam Lewis was great for the Vikings. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he doesn't have. Was this just a down season for him? Maybe. Let's look here. Let's break it down a little bit more. Um, yeah, it was a little bit of a down season, but even his peak isn't fantastic. Um, yeah, I'm not too moved by this signing. His peak was, I think, in 20. It looks like in 2024. And even then, he had 48 tackles, one interception, allowed 48 receptions. His overall grade was better. His coverage and pass rush grades were better, but his run defense grade was better. So he kind of flipped from where he was in 2025, where his run game was kind of his main saving grace. But we'll see what he does in the Bears. Day two has been quiet. Day two has been very quiet. I'm a little shocked, especially with how many big names we still have out there. How quiet it has been. Trey wants to be overpaid like Odafe Owe was. That Odafe Owe contract shocked me. He was someone that I looked at for the Bengals. I would have liked him to come to the Bengals, but $25 million. What was it? 4 years, 100 million. So 25 million average. That's a lot. Good player, comes from a great system in Baltimore, then got traded to the Chargers. But I don't know. I don't think, I think that's a lot, and that's why I kind of think the Boye Mafe, while even Mafe may have been a bit of an overpay, it's a deal compared to Odafe Owe. And I think you get a very similar player. Not quite. Mafe hasn't had the same production, but I think he has a higher ceiling than what Owe does. So if Mafe is able to hit his ceiling, we could have something. That could be the next Trey Hendrickson signing, because Trey Hendrickson, when he came to the Bengals, was not the Trey Hendrickson we all know now. In fact, a lot of people said that he was kind of a merchant for the scheme in New Orleans. Trey is being extremely stubborn. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like his agent's being stubborn. Like, based on what Jonathan Jones is saying, it sounds like they thought that the Bengals were being cheap, and then the other teams kind of said the same exact thing that the Bengals were saying. Is that bridge burnt? I'd asked a guy who's closer to the source a few months ago. What he thought about it. He basically said never say never on Trey returning. I don't know how that's kind of turned around lately. Like, I would have liked him back, but 25 mil was not going to happen. Owe had 0 sacks for Baltimore when he got him, in 7.5 for us. Yeah, I think he's got a higher ceiling, but he's not quite where I'm not paying 25 million for him. That's, I think, 5 million less than what Trey Hendrickson was making last year. So I'm okay with the Mafe signing. For what we get out of him and what potential we have him. Trey is just, he's older. He's coming off an injury. It's a really hard sell for me to give you 60 million guaranteed, which I think he was okay with the 3-year, $90 million deal, but he wanted 60 million guaranteed. And Trey is not great in the run game. That's the other problem he has. He's really good in the pass rush game, obviously, but his run, in terms of like where other edges are that get paid that much, he's not great. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I knew it was something like that. 3-year, 95 mil. So I was 5 mil off, but he wanted more money guaranteed, which is understandable. But and what's annoying is Katie Blackburn was right, because now she's going to hold that standard to other contracts as well. Of, they didn't want to pay further in guarantees because what happens if he gets hurt? Then he got hurt. So, there's kind of, I'm afraid she's going to apply that to other contracts, but we'll see. I would love to have Trey back. If we got Trey back with Mafe and Shamar Stewart and Miles somehow, that would be awesome. That would be great. If he comes back and says, like, look, my highest offer was 20 mil. Can you match it? I don't know that that's true, but if he, like, say hypothetically, his highest offer is $20 million a year, and he just asked the Bengals if they can match it, and they match it, and he comes back, yes, because again, he's gonna have to move. Like, there's gonna be all these other things. He said he loves Cincinnati, and there comes a point where you just need to fire your agent. T had to do that because he wanted to stay in Cincinnati, and his agent was holding out for him, which that's the agent's job too. Like, I'm not faulting the agent for that, but there comes a point where the agent has to go to the player and say, "Hey, is this what you want? Do you care more about money, or do you want to stay here?" And Trey has to make that decision. His agent has to make that decision. We saw Alec Pierce make that decision. Alec Pierce chose to take less money. Granted, it was a lucrative contract to begin with, but he chose to take less money to stay in Indianapolis and not go to, like, the Patriots. So there, maybe we see something crazy happen. But this standoff is getting lame. It's causing a ton of issues. I wish the Bengals front office wouldn't constantly get into these situations. We saw it with Geno Atkins as well, where we just, we don't. I don't know that they're the best at negotiating in good faith, which is a problem. But also, I don't know that Trey's side is negotiating in good faith. It's hard to make these decisions when you're not in the room, right? I can't say, like, so-and-so said this. We're going completely off of rumors and reports of what other people are saying. And insiders are basically agents at this point, and like, you can, I don't know if you follow certain insiders, and I don't want to call anyone out, but if you follow certain insiders and you just kind of look at their trends, you can tell which teams they like. You can tell which teams don't give them the information they want, just by their posts. For example, there's an insider who, when T. Higgins was going through his whole thing, he would tweet like, "Hey, T. Higgins is in this standoff. Here's, like, all this negative stuff about the Bengals." But then when another wide receiver was in a similar situation, and I forget who it was, he basically just said, "So-and-so's been franchise tagged." Whereas with T. Higgins, it was like, T. Higgins has been franchise tagged. The Bengals are continuing to hold out on paying their wide receiver too. They don't want to trade him. Like, all this extra unnecessary stuff. And if you know who it is, you know who it is. I'm not going to call him out here, but it's really irritating. And that's clearly just a propaganda piece. Shamar Stewart, literally last year, Shamar Stewart had to kind of step in and tell his agent, "Hey, no, let's just get this done. This is getting ridiculous." And he went on, their agent. I almost had him on our show, and then he ghosted me. Zach Hiller, however you say his last name, made me mad. But he went on another show, Cincy Unfiltered, hosted by Drew Garrison and the Bangalorean. And nothing he said really made sense to me about the situation. Jesse James Taylor came on and talked about the contract a little bit on our channel. Shout out Jesse. Love Jesse. Very helpful and informative to contracts. And even he said there were some things that he didn't really understand that Hiller was trying to say. So some of these agents are, and again, their job is to get the most money for their clients. But Jesse even said some of these agents are just like, a guy's friend who, he goes into the league and is like, "Hey, do you want to take care of this for me?" And the guy takes a course and gets registered to be an NFL agent. I don't know that that's the situation. That's probably not the situation for Trey. He's been in the league long enough and has enough money that he can probably hire someone who does this professionally. Harold Lewis, National Sports Agency, is his agent. I'm not familiar with that agency. I'm not familiar with Harold Lewis. I wonder if we can see here who else Harold Lewis represents. He's currently negotiated 11 contracts, according to the NFLPA website. their website, if you go to National Sports Agency's website, it was started by accident by Harold C. Lewis while throwing batting practice for the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. I want to see. I don't care. I want to see who his players are that he represents, though. Usually they've got that plastered all over. Bart Scott is the vice president of player relations there. I don't know. Usually they've got plastered all over the place. Oh, here we go. It's at the bottom. So Trey Hendrickson, obviously, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then Derek Hall are the three that they have posted on here. So those are probably their three biggest that they represent. So respectable names, but not necessarily. Trey seems to be their biggest contract. I would say Trey is definitely their biggest contract right now of the three that I saw on their website. Come on, let's see. So we got 14 people in the chat. Everyone sound off. What teams are you looking for? Who are you looking to sign? What big ticket players are you looking for your team to sign? What would make you happy? Still got plenty of free agents out there. Today has been super slow. Vikings to sign Rachaad White at running back. I saw a couple teams were interested in him. Logan Hall. That's who I was thinking of earlier. Logan Hall at the defensive line. I remember earlier I mentioned a defensive tackle that was younger that I was interested in the Bengals going after. That's who I was thinking of. Logan Hall. I think the Bengals were high on him in the draft, and they ended up not going with him. There was another guy, I forget what draft it was, but I remember reading that they were really high on him, but not as high as they were on another player who they ended up taking. So I could see the Bengals being interested in Logan Hall, going after Logan Hall. That would be a good signing. Very young player, still has a lot in the tank. Vikings, I know that the Seahawks are looking at Rachaad White as well. I thought you guys were drafting Jeremiah Love, though, with the 18th pick, Chris. Chanel, Wagner, Clowney, Reeder, any of those. Yeah, Wagner would be nice. A little bit older. Clowney would be another one of those guys that I put into the I guess like Epinesa and Bosa category. Yeah, we've got. What are we saying? Damn to you got some news? You got some news? Did you see something? But Wagner's older. Reeder, I saw a quote. Kay Adams did an interview with DJ Reeder where he said he was open to coming back to the Bengals, so that could be an option as well if Logan Hall goes. But Logan Hall's still out there. He'd be a fun pickup. I hope Duke Tobin is not asleep right now. I hope, Duke Tobin's got that tendency to work at night, I guess. So maybe that's what he's doing again. He was working during the day yesterday. He said, no more of this. I'm going back to my trends of the night. The Cincinnati Batman. And of course, anything that happens overnight after this stream, I'll try to do a quick recap like I did a quick recap post in the community tab like I did last night. And then we'll talk about any big signings that happen overnight on tomorrow's stream. Have White be our third running back. Okay, yeah, true. I really liked Ty Chandler, though. I was so high on Ty Chandler for you guys. I thought he was going to be great. Edibike. If we sign Edibike, I have to learn how to say his name correctly because I'm pretty sure I'm not saying it correctly right now. But yeah, the Bengals indicated they were going quantity over quality, and right now they're going quality over quantity, which is two players, Brian Cook and Mafe. Reisner, if we want to include him, he's a free agent. I know. I'm just saying. I thought that he was going to be like a lot better for you guys. To the point where like I thought he would be at least a RB2, kind of like in a Jordan Mason role almost. Jordan or Chargers lost nose tackle Otito Ogbonia. I don't know who that is, to be honest with you. Is he really good? If that's someone that I'm supposed to know who they are, I try to know as many players by name and like know something about them. I'm is he good? Let me know, B Wilkes. One bar would I tried to get one bar on the show. I messaged one bar, and I don't know if I know they're doing their own thing. So he hasn't messaged me back yet, but I love one bar and Galapagos. Nothing but kind things to say about them. So that's good to know. One bar is really far into the Logan Hall train. I think a lot of people are on the Logan Hall train. So did you guys see the okay, so Otito is a depth piece, but you know the defensive line depth is really important. And that's why like I'm not low on Shamar Stewart. I'm not low on Miles Murphy because even like you need depth on the D line in the trenches, just in general. They were live yesterday for 9 hours. Wow, I thought I was doing something being live for almost 3. Wow, I think they do their thing full time, right? Their YouTube channel is full time. We're not full time here yet, but with your support, we can be eventually. Don't forget we signed Reisner and still need to work on Turner. Yes, I know. And Brown, Chase Brown is another one who may need extended. I know. I hope they extend Turner and Hill this offseason, but you know how the Bengals are. They like to wait till the last minute. They do it full time. Yeah, they do a lot of. If you're a Vikings fan, go give One Bar and Galapagos some love. They do some great stuff over there. Very informative. It's great that they're able to do this full time. Very happy for them. Would love to get to that point because I do genuinely enjoy just hanging out here, talking football. I mean, we're not even really talking about anything right now, but Shamley lost out on Myers. They should have stuck with him and Lloyd. Myers. Give me a first name on Myers. I would have liked Lloyd though. I wanted Lloyd so badly. Got to remember, I'm running on like 5 hours sleep here, so I'm trying to think who's the Myers we lost out on. Jason Myers? Are you talking about you're not talking about the place kicker? Oh, John Franklin Myers. Yes. Okay. Yes. I see. I'm not awake. Yeah, they were in on him. I don't know if you saw Lindsay Patterson. She's fairly popular on Bengals Twitter. Tweeted that the Bengals are a big interested in team because we're also interested in Max Murphy. Or Max. See, I'm tired. Max Crosby. Jeez. We're interested in Max Crosby. And Oz obviously did not get him. He went to the Ravens, but the Bengals were interested in him, and the Bengals were interested in John Franklin Myers. But that's okay. We got Boye. We got Boye. His name's more fun to say too. But Franklin Myers is a big deal. Lloyd, I would have liked. Lloyd, I think, got underpaid too. So great deal for them. Apparently, I read it was down to the Panthers and the Bengals. So I don't know what the Bengals were offering Lloyd, but We'll see. He could have been a hero. Could have been a hero, but he decided not to be. We did get another subscriber during this stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just saw that. Hit us 790. Let's try and hit 800 by the end of the week. If you're not subscribed, it really does help us out. It takes you like 3 seconds to do, but it helps us a ton. So if you could hit that subscribe button, we'll be back doing this tomorrow. We'll be live here for another 15 or so minutes. And then, like I said, we're going to let's do it. Let's do it, B. Wilkes. Let's take this channel worldwide. So what we want to do with this channel is obviously talk about NFL football. My vision, though, is to eventually have like channels where we're talking about NASCAR, NBA, baseball, like whatever, just sports all the time on YouTube. I like NASCAR. I follow the WNBA a bit. Stan likes the NBA, follows soccer. Chus follows different things. Like we can do this, and we also want to keep giving back to communities. I grew up am living in a small community, farm community. We're constantly going to be giving back. That's the goal. So please support the channel. We're not just all trying to become millionaires off of YouTube. We're trying to do some good work here. So let's take it worldwide. I like that energy, B. Wilkes. Bro, my Chargers are doing so bad in free agency. Who have you guys signed? Have you guys made any big moves? You guys signed or did you? No, you lost Zion Johnson. Never mind. You got Tyler Biadasz, who was released from the Commanders. Cole Strange, Charlie Kohler, Alec Ingold. You got Khalil Mack back at least. Yeah, that's a win, right? Trevor Penny, not a whole bunch of big names. Your biggest name is probably Khalil Mack, right? Apparently you extended Tier Tart too. Charlie Kohler, he didn't really have, he was kind of buried on the depth chart in Baltimore, so maybe he gets something. You guys tendered Kamani Vidal. Mekhi Becton he was rough. I wasn't shocked Mekhi Becton got released. I was a little surprised Will Dissly got released. Not super surprised though. Apparently we got 80 million in cap space for no reason. That's how I feel about the Bengals most years. So welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Our big pickup was Biadasz. That's a name I'm going to have to learn to say too. At least you didn't have to pay. I mean, would you have wanted to pay Tyler Linderbaum $27 million a year to come to the Chargers? You got former Patriots, I think, first-round pick, Cole Strange. Oh, Brandon, the Bengals would disagree with you. The Bengals love to roll over money. See, this is why whenever people say, like the Bengals can't pay defense because they have Jamar and T and Joe's contracts. No. They don't go up against the cap. If they were going up against the cap and it was an issue, that'd be different. But they don't butt up against the capital. They just roll over the money. They love to roll over the money. So it's not the contracts. It's just laziness. And you're learning that today with the Chargers. At least your Chargers got more than 3 players re-signed, a linebacker. The Vikings pet peeve, it's re-signed. There's a hyphen. Resigned means they fired him or he quit. Resigned a linebacker, signed a cornerback, and re-signed a long snapper. Raiders are crushing it. Raiders are busy. They've got 2 top 15 picks as well. So they can do a ton in the draft Getting Fernando Mendoza. You can bring in another O-line guy if you want. Spencer Fano might fall there. Get some their defense. Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. That linebacker room is going to be crazy. You're happy with the center signing, but we have 5 picks in the draft, or letting everyone go and making no better signings. There's not really been any big, the biggest signing today was probably Romeo Doubs, and that happened fairly early on in the day. I'm hoping the Bengals sign Leo Chenal today. I agree, 100%. KP. KP from KC. Are you a Chiefs fan or are you a Bengals fan? If you're a Chiefs fan, what can you tell? You got any inside info on Leo Chenal? Totally agree. It's not the spell. It's just that, because it means something. So it's so antithetical to what you're trying to say. Because if you re-sign someone, you're bringing them back. But if you resign someone, it's completely different. It's not the bad spelling, Mr. Terrible. Steelers, Ravens have 4 comp picks this year, so they can move around in the draft. We didn't get anything. You're a Bengals fan, bro? Me too. Would I trade pick 10 for Jalen Carter? That is interesting. If we sign Leo Chenal, I'd be open to it. Because if we don't sign a linebacker that's worth starting, I think you have to draft Sonny Styles. However, I do think that Jalen Carter is better than any of the defensive tackles you'd get at pick 10. Like basically Peter Woods. Is Jalen Carter better than Peter Woods? Yes. I think I would do that. If we get Leo Chenal, or if we get Logan Hall and Leo Chenal and then trade pick 10 for Jalen Carter, that's crazy to me that they're even fielding calls for Jalen Carter. I would be open to that. I think that could be crazy. That's the type of move they need to make, though. I know that's not going to be a popular move because a lot of people still want Caleb Downs, but I don't even know that he's going to be there. I don't know that he's. And now that we've got Brian Cook, do you still draft a safety top 10? I don't know. Bengals fan, bro. Okay, welcome to the club, or welcome to the gang. We do a ton of Bengals stuff here on the channel, obviously, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. But Malik Wright Malik Wright is great too. He's another one. Shout out Malik Wright. He does a ton of insider stuff as well. He was early on the Trey Hendrickson not really getting what he wanted as well. He was tweeting about that yesterday. Yeah, that would be a big move. That might be the biggest move that the Bengals have ever made in franchise history, though, because that's not a type of move they like to make. That's the type of move Howie Roseman would make, but that's not the type of move the Bengals make. I mean, the Bengals, we were kind of shocked when they traded for Khalil Herbert for a 7th round pick a few years ago, remember? Because they just don't do in-season trades a lot. So, and this wouldn't be an in-season trade, but trading a 1st round pick for someone like Jalen Carter, that's big. That would break the internet, I think. If they start Trevor Penning and Cole Strange, I'm going to be fuming. That is former 1st round pick Cole Strange to you. That was such a weird pick. Was that the last year Bill Belichick was the GM? You never know. 10 is such a weird spot in this draft because it's so dependent on what the Cardinals and the Jets do. Now that Dante Moore pulling out of the draft, like I said, was a good decision, but it screwed the Bengals a ton because now like Arvell Reese isn't going to fall. Reuben Bain Jr. probably isn't going to fall. There's not a ton of quarterbacks. Joe Camel on the Cardinal Rule was talking about this when I was over there. There's a bunch of all the best players in this draft aren't premium positions. So like safety isn't usually considered a premium position. But Caleb Downs is obviously fantastic. Linebacker, not necessarily considered a premium position, but Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, you've got a ton of great players. If we start Trevor Penning and Cole Strange, fire everyone. I don't think you gonna do that. There's not a ton of elite offensive linemen in this draft. There's some good starting caliber offensive linemen in this draft. Lost sound. You lost sound. I got sound on my end. Did I? Can everyone else still hear me? Sound is back. Okay, cool. I was like, I got sound. I've got my levels over here that I can check. Yeah, what is his rookie deal though? Tom, now you're gonna talk me into like imagining Jalen Carter on this team. And I said some bad stuff about Jalen Carter last year when he spit on Dak Prescott, so you're gonna make me eat crow too. But I'm not gonna lie, I would like it. So he's a unrestricted free agent in 2028 with a club tender in 2027. Yeah, he'd be cheap for 1 year. 5th-year option available in 2027. He is a 27 million 5th-year option. fair enough. I'm just talking about like that's one of the disadvantages of having the cool thing about having a channel is whenever you call something out ahead of time, it's really cool because you got to prove. But also whenever you say something that doesn't work out or you say something stupid, it's also out there. And I don't want to delete stuff because that's just dishonest. Yeah. Do you think you could? I don't think you could trade Orlando for a second. He's older. He's struggled last season. Freeling is also a first round mock now too. I don't know that we'd get a second for Orlando. If we can, that's awesome. But Jake Slaughter, I just saw your last name, Jeff. Jake Slaughter from Florida. He's someone I'd be interested in. I think he's a 3rd round mock. I like him. Yeah, that's exactly. This draft is just really weird with the personnel. I mean, the only one in the top 10 that's really even locked in is Fernando at 1. Never been so happy. Bozeman retired. You were happy. Carter could be our Gino. I agree with you. I'm not against doing it. But then, like, do the Bengals pay him? Or would he just be a 1-year rental? Javon Dexter is an elite pass rusher. Yeah, Dexter. What was Ronald was in here yesterday talking about McDonald as well. I still need to look into him more. I know, but I don't like it when I like rooting for players that like are easy to root for, right? So I'm not saying I'm against it. And Jalen Carter's a fantastic baller. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just hard. Bradley, free rusher, Bozeman. Fair enough. That's true. That's true. He is better than Miles and Shamar, which Shamar wouldn't be on his 5th year, but I don't think Jalen Rivers could be an LT. I think he's pretty set at guard based on his build. I think his arms are shorter too, if I remember correctly. As long as you're not Burton without producing. And that's a fair take. I understand that. I just, if I'm rooting for someone, I want them to be easy or fun to root for, right? Team player. But Brandon is on like a separate tangent from everyone else in the chat where he's just bad mouthing Bradley Bozeman. True. Yeah, that's true as well. That's true. I really need to see Miles Murphy take a step forward. That's what I really want to see. Shamar is going to be our rotational guy, probably more of a Joseph Asai role now. But Miles is the one that I really need to see a step over. The DTs aren't great though. Either way, even with Shamar being that over the top guy. But they brought in Al Golden to develop people, right? That's kind of their whole thing. So it's hard. That's a lot to ask the Bengals to invest. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I'm just looking at the trends of what the Bengals have done. And they aren't a team that usually makes that decisions. I'm not trying to get my hopes up too much. If they do it, awesome. But that just isn't a move they make. And I'm not one of those people who's like high on draft picks. Like, there are some creators who are all about the draft picks. Like, get as many draft picks as you can. But draft picks are such a lottery. Even like we've seen first overall picks completely, fade off. Like Kyler Murray is looking for a new team now, right? How many teams did Baker Mayfield go to? So there's a lottery when it comes to the draft picks, but so I'm not against it at all. Miles likes to be on the right and Mafe on the left. 800 snaps each. They protect exactly. I like the setup, and I think Miles. We talked about this yesterday. Miles didn't really get a ton of playing time until last season. And Trayvon Walker is a former first overall pick, and it took him a while to get going. It takes defensive ends time and reps to get going in the NFL. And Miles were just so spread out because he was stuck behind Sam Hubbard. So I think he was talking about the defense that tight ends seemed to kill us on defense. Oh, yeah, tight end does kill us on defense. We need a better coverage linebacker, which is kind of what I was hoping Devin Lloyd could be. Maybe Leo Chanel can be that. Demetrius Knight is not great at that, and Barrett Carter takes weird angles. So Logan Wilson was that for a little bit, but not a long time. Tight end has just always killed us. You think the Chargers are in play for AJ Brown? Maybe. Now that the sounded like they wanted a first round pick and that the Patriots were the favorite, but now that the Patriots have signed Romeo Doubs, I don't think so. Right, I know. And I'm a big Hubbard guy too, but Hubbard was starting longer than he should have been. And also he was more of a run defender than he was a pass rusher. So I don't know why he was in on clear passing downs, but yeah. That was kind of my big irk with Lou Anarumo was I didn't like how he rotated the D line. And I was worried that he would do the same thing to Leatu Latu in Indianapolis, but he seems to be giving Leatu Latu an actual chance. I really like Jacob Rodriguez. The only thing with Jacob Rodriguez is he has a high missed tackle percentage, which is something the Bengals don't need. Awuzie, Cheeto would be good. I don't know that Cheeto. I don't want Cheeto to be the starter. I don't know that he's the same Cheeto that we all remember and love. I wouldn't be against bringing him back on a cheap deal, but it could be a Von Bell situation where, we remember him as this great player, and then all of a sudden he, isn't that same player. But Jacob Rodriguez is a guy I really like depth-wise. What? You're not a big Quentin Johnson fan? B. Wilkes? Come on. I thought that was your guy. He kind of improved last year, though. He looked a lot better. He wasn't as much of a meme. He had some good games, but AJ Brown is definitely an upgrade. Would you trade a first for AJ Brown? I think that's kind of the question you have to answer, and then be willing to pay that contract, whatever it is. Bradley Chubb still. So Ari Mirov just tweeted his top free agents available. Uzi, that's where I would put him too. He would have to rotate with Jalen Davis, I think, though. And I don't know that I want those two being the primary nickels, would be my concern, because Jalen Davis is more of a blitzer out of the nickel. But you have to keep Dax and DJ out on the outside as well. They need to stop moving Dax. Dax is best on the outside. Putting him at safety was stupid. Njoku is available. We have a history of getting tight ends, then they leave and get paid. Yeah. Mike Gesicki stayed for a while. That's cool. We're getting Eric All back. Everyone keeps forgetting about Eric All. Eric All looked really good his rookie year until he was injured. I could see us signing another tight end, maybe drafting a tight end. They got Trey Hendrickson, Reek Wolin, Rasheed Walker, Chika Okonkwo, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Caden Ellis, Leah Chanel, Chris Paul, Nick Cross, Kalavon Chaseon, Kyler Murray, Bradley Chubb, Tyreek Hill, Taylor Decker, Elgton Jenkins, Calvin Austin III, Debo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Wyatt Teller, Bobby Okereke, Dallas Goedert, David Njoku, DJ Reader, and Rashad White are all still available. So we still got some big names out there. Dude, I'm a big Eric All guy. I had a video blow up about Eric All a year ago because I was so hype on Eric All. I got his jersey. I had it signed. I'm a big Eric All guy. Draft Royer and 12 personnel with All. Okay, cool. I'm not against that at all. No pun intended. However, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do have to head out, unfortunately. It's been so great hanging out with you guys. Let me make sure we're not going to miss some news here at the end as I'm heading off. I appreciate everyone who's come and hung out with us. We will be doing this again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time, same time. We'll probably go a little bit longer if there's news to be talked about. Joe Goodberry, another great content creator, said his rehab was going great. He should be back this year. Yeah, he's already announced he's coming back, so I'm excited about that. Eric All, great player. But if you have not subscribed, please do. It helps us. It helps us out immensely with the algorithm and with everything. And make sure you turn on notifications so you see when we come on live. I'll try to be on around 3 p.m. again, Eastern time. See you tomorrow. Love hanging out with you guys. And as always, until next time, go do something nice for someone.